Hi guys, welcome back to Handlebars and Holidays. An interesting one today. It's test ride time. So here we are at Cully's Triumph and Yamaha in Balcatta, where they have very kindly allowed us to take out the 21/22 Speed Twin, which I'm really looking forward to. It's a bike that I think is going to be right up my street. So hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and we are aboard the 2021/22 Triumph Speed Twin 1200. I have spared you the slightly boring freeway section, so we're just coming up to the coast in wonderful Western Australia, and we'll take a little tootle along there and talk about this bike which I have been looking forward to riding for some time. What can I say? The first thing that grabs me as soon as I jumped on this machine is how immediately at home I felt. Whether it's just my size and the position of things, but this is a very comfy machine. Obviously coming into the sports retro category, but yes, it's very comfortable, very comfortable. Nice chunky bars, feet not too high. I don't feel like my knees are up round my ears. But yeah, this is quite a treat actually. I say I've been kind of looking forward to riding this bike for a little while, because I just think it might tick all my boxes. You're always looking, if you lot are anything like me, you're always looking at what your next bike is. And this is a strong contender. I don't know, there's something about this bike that kind of appeals to me. So we'll take a little tootle along the coast. Surprisingly, there doesn't seem to be any traffic. There's normally a fair bit of traffic along here, so it's a good sort of indication of what the bike's like in slow moving when you're a bit frustrated, stuck behind a car. I've left the bike in road mode, so everything is nice and gentle. Gear changes on this bike are beautiful. The few Triumphs that I've ridden now, Triumphs seem to have really locked down the gearboxes. Lovely and smooth, really nice and smooth. Bike feels light, very comfortable. I like this sort of retro analog clocks. I think that's a really nice touch. We're all used to having lots of bells and whistles on our bikes these days, and this is a little bit more stripped back. There's a few things on here that aren't, well, there's a few things that aren't on here. But it just feels right. And that engine, the engine tone is lovely. That little sort of pop up. I don't know, really nice. So we'll talk through things in a little bit more detail. I'll pull in at the usual spot and we'll do a bit of a walk round and look at some of the specifics, but as is normally the case, I'm not going to go too much into detail with all the specs. I'm aiming to provide a bit of a real world everyday view of what this machine's like. If you want all the technical stuff, you can ask Google. You don't really need me for that. I just wanted to try and give a bit of a feel of interestingly, in this case, what somebody that's been looking forward to this bike might actually feel about it once he's had it for a few hours. So I gather Triumph reworked this model for 2021 and made some fairly radical changes. There's improvements to performance and suspension and such like, but we can talk about that a little bit more a bit further into the ride. The main thing for now is just have a little tootle and see what the slow speed stuff's like. I don't know whether my microphone will be picking that sound up. I hope it is, because the engine tone at low revs, can you hear that? Oh, it's just a lovely tone. It's really nice. I mean, to be fair, GoPros and YouTube don't necessarily do justice to a lot of things. Sound is something you very often lose out on. Bike sound, you know, you can you can sit in a car park and rev a bike and say, doesn't that sound fantastic? When you watch it back on YouTube, it sounds pretty cack, but what can we do? Super smooth, buttery gear changes, as is always the case. Bar end mirrors that are perfect. I don't know how Triumph have really managed to tie that down. They've mastered the bar end mirrors. They're absolutely spot on. There's not a hint of vibration and perfect view. The last 3 Triumphs I've rode have basically all had the same mirrors, and spot on. I think this is probably the first time I've come down the coast and it's been so quiet. You're almost always queuing in traffic. We've got the perfect day for it today. There's not a cloud in the skies, you can maybe see. I think we're currently sitting on about maybe 21 degrees with a high of 24, 25 today, so it doesn't get any better than that. Oh, she's got some beans. She's got some beans. So I was just talking to Sam, my local dealer there at Cully's in Balcatta this morning, and for anybody that saw my last review, it was the Speed Triple, the 1200 RS. Take a look at that if you haven't already seen it. But Sam was telling me this morning that that bike a few days ago was won Bike of the Year, which doesn't surprise me at all. And that was a real nice machine too. As regular viewers will know, I'm relatively new to Triumph, and up to now, the Triumphs that I've ridden, I haven't found one I don't like. I just wish I had a bigger garage and more money. So I'll just touch on the Freeway section. When I left the bike shop this morning, I did a little stint on the Freeway, just to get where I wanted to be that little bit quicker and give the bike a bit of a, you kind of know what it's going to be like on the Freeway, to be perfectly honest. It was exactly what you would expect. Obviously it's a fully naked machine. Wind blast hits you full in the chest, but nice clean wind blast. No, there didn't appear to be any turbulence or anything like that. I was sitting on 100, 105 k's an hour, and it was perfectly smooth and very, very happy. Tons of pull at that speed in top gear, so no issues there. Nothing to report, nothing exciting, nothing wrong, just boring. Freeway's boring. I'm really liking the engine tone. Okay, so I'm just about to arrive at my little pull-in for photos and such like, so we'll do that next, shall we? I think it's also time to change my jacket for a little bit thinner one. It's warming up. Okay guys, so here we are with the very lovely Triumph Speed Twin. Let's have a little bit closer look, shall we? Okay, so this is the 2122 Speed Twin 1200. Price on the Triumph website is $20,890.
Available in 3 colours, jet black as you see there, red hopper and matte storm grey. 196 kilograms curb weight, which isn't particularly light, but it's very, very nimble. Doesn't feel heavy in the slightest. Nice low centre of gravity, I would say, because of just basically the way that it feels. 14.5 litre tank, which is plenty big enough. 809mm seat height, which is a nice low seat. Very, very, you feel, you know, slow speed on your drive, totally flat foot. I'm about 5'10" with a 32-inch inseam. Flat foot on it, absolutely no problem. So you feel nice and secure. Nice wide bars. I think the bars were about 780mm if I remember. So yeah, it you know, it just feels nice. It's nice, comfy. In terms of convenience and safety, you've obviously got the twin analog speedo and tacho, which is just such a refreshing change. Look at that brushed aluminium sort of bezel down there, and it's just really nice. I like the little speed twin on there, you know, I mean, how lovely. Again, my little pet hate, the brake fluid container there stuck out like it was an afterthought, you know, just about to leave the factory and oh shit, we need to put one of them on. So you've got the 3 riding modes, rain, road and sport, all LED lighting. It's a little bit strange that the headlight is a conventional halogen bulb. Indicators, daytime runners, everything else is LED. I'm not quite sure why they've done that. Apparently under the seat there's a USB accessory socket, and obviously the bike's equipped with traction control and ABS. Suspension brakes, tubular steel chassis, twin-sided aluminium swing arm, 17-inch cast aluminium wheels, which are nice, easy to keep clean as well. That's something I always think about with wheels. You can spend as much time cleaning your wheels as you can clean the rest of the bike sometimes. 43mm Mazzocchi upside down forks. We got 320mm twin discs on the front. Brakes, as far as I could tell you at the moment, seem absolutely fine. Brembo calipers there. I think they're 4-pot on the front, 2-pot on the back. Nissan, I think they are at the back. Just a single 220mm disc there at the back. Metzeler Race Tech tyres, which is quite nice. They've put a nice sporty tyre on this bike. So again, quite confidence inspiring, feels nice, can't fault it. Power wise, they've reworked for this model the 1200cc engine. Obviously it's an 8-valve parallel twin, producing just a smidgen under 100 brake horse, which is at 7,250 RPM. Torque is up slightly, I think, to 112 Newton meters, but they've reduced where the torque, maximum torque comes in. It's down to 4,250 RPM, which makes it a lot more usable, a lot more rideable. This is a very, very rideable bike. So yeah, really nice. Exhaust, let's just obviously twin exhaust, brushed stainless steel. Nice. What is nice is, if I can just catch the angle right, it just looks like a straight through exhaust. The cat is tucked away really nicely underneath, so there's no great big bulky thing hanging down underneath to spoil the looks. When you get in nice and close there, the detailing, you know, just look at that lovely little badge there, and everything is really nice, and it's just nicely finished. Triumph's fit and finish. As I say, I'm relatively new to Triumph, so it's difficult for me to say too much because I don't really know what it was, but what it is now is superb, absolutely superb. So yeah, initial impressions are, and I thought they would be with this bike, that it's going to suit me down to the ground. Again, as is always the case, a little bit of scaffolding on the back there that would probably have to accidentally fall off and be replaced with something much smaller, but yeah, can't wait to get out and do a few more Ks, so let's just do that, shall we?
Okay, so nice little walk around. Let's go and see if we can find some little bit nicer roads. So this is most certainly a very easy bike to ride. That's the one thing that screams at you as soon as you get out and about on a Speed Twin. It's very, very easy. It's very confidence inspiring. There's nothing intimidating about it at all. Okay, so we're just getting into some nicer roads now. Before we do so, let's just do a little bit of a low down torque test. So I'm in 4th gear now and doing 2000 RPM. Yeah, 4th gear, 2000 RPM, 50 k's an hour, cracker open. And away she goes. That torque from 2000 RPM, it's just there. It just makes for easy riding. I'm a very lazy rider, and well, it suits me. Just do another little low down torque test. Okay, so we're in 5th gear, so 1 down from top, doing 2,500 revs. Now let's drop down a little bit. Okay, so 2,200 revs, 60 k's an hour, and cracker open at that. Instant pull, no problems. Away we go, and into top. Yeah, she's got beans, absolutely no problem at all. That low down torque is really nice. Just makes for a nice usable power. You're not having to thrash the pants off the bike. It's very happy to do it. Oh, look at that up there, the clouds are coming in. Goodness me, it could be raining soon. The bike was a bit more emphasis on the retro than the sport. I think I'm going to take that back. This is a deceptively quick bike. It's got absolutely oodles to go, and if you want to get out into the twisties and wring every last little bit of juice out of it, I'm sure you could have an absolute ball. I think what shines through for me, to be honest, is that this is just a really refined bike. It's just quite gentlemanly. Even when you give it some stick, it does it in a very gentlemanly way. Does that make any sense? It's quite refined. The balance between the comfort and the retro and the sport, I think, is spot on. A very, very nice all-rounder. Well, I had the bike in sport mode then, in the little twisties, and there's quite a difference. The throttle responsiveness is considerably higher than in road. I've not been in rain, I don't see the point. But yeah, the sport is quite a bit different than the road. I think it's interesting when you think about bikes in general these days. I mean, I'm 55 years old. I've been riding bikes since I was 16, so nigh on 4 decades, and bikes have improved immensely in that time. The technology has come on leaps and bounds, and I think you're hard pressed these days to find a bad bike. Bikes, you know, they've all got good points, lots of good points these days. There might be the odd little bit that you don't like, something that's minimal, but generally bikes are very, very good these days. So when we're looking for negatives, they're small negatives. And I think for a bike to be a special bike, it's got to have that little bit of an X factor, that thing that you can't put your finger on, but it just makes it special for you. And I think everybody's X factor is different, everybody's requirements are obviously different. In terms of what I'm looking for in a bike, something that's nice and comfortable, I'm lucky enough to have more than one bike, so I can view things in a slightly different way. But in terms of my requirements, and maybe a lot of people's, if you were looking at this as potentially a second bike or more, this is a bike that you could go out on for a ride with your mates, with half a dozen of your mates on a Sunday, and do 3, 4, 5, maybe 600 Ks quite comfortably. If some of it was in traffic, that would be fine. If some of it was in real fast twisty roads and that's what you wanted to do, the bike would love it. So I think this is a real nice all-rounder. It's not a bike I'd go touring on for a week, and it's not a bike I'd take to the track, but just about everything in between, I think it does very well. So yeah, it tickles my fancy, should we say. I think it's kind of interesting if you look at this bike from the point of view of what it doesn't have, because it doesn't have cruise control, it doesn't have a quick shifter, it doesn't have a blipper, it doesn't have a few of the features that are quite prevalent these days, but it doesn't need them. It's not that bike. This is going back to basics to a degree. Yes, it's got all the safety features, it does everything exceptionally well, and it's just got what it needs. It takes you back, I think. It's got the modern day refinements, but it takes you back to bikes of old. And I was actually thinking the other day when I was out on one of my bikes. You know, we ride bikes because we like the freedom, we like the fresh air. You're concentrating on what you're doing, you're not worried about the day-to-day trials and tribulations that we all have to put up with. But something else struck me. When you're out on your bike, you're back to being 18 again. I mean, I'm still doing the same things, I'm still thinking the same things, riding very much the same way that I did when I was 18, so motorcycling kind of makes you a little bit ageless. I suppose there'll come a point, and yes, it's true to say I've slowed down a bit, and there'll come a point probably where I'll decide I've had enough. I can't really imagine that, but maybe there will. But yeah, it makes you a little bit ageless. Be interesting to hear what people think about that comment. I don't know whether I've hit the nail on the head there or I'm talking absolute rubbish. But this is kind of where this bike sort of fits into things, because it sort of takes you back, you know, in a modern way. Plus it's pretty cool looking, let's be honest. It's a cool looking bike. So I'm going to be heading back to the shop now, so I'll wrap this one up, I think. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're enjoying these little test rides and reviews. And for anyone who lives in Western Australia, if you like the look of the Speed Twin, or any of the Triumph and Yamaha range for that matter, pop down to Cully's in Balcatta, go see Sam, tell him I sent you, and he'll look after you. I'm sure he always looks after me. All I can say about the Speed Twin is if you like the look of the bike, if it's even slightly appealing, please ride it, go ride it. This is a really, really nice bike. I can't imagine how anybody could not get on with this, to be honest. But anyway, I'm going to say goodbye for now. Thank you once again for joining me at Handlebars and Holidays. I hope it's been of some interest / entertainment. And as always, I'll catch you next time. But take care and ride safe.